You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You are locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA, been a Clipper fan for 21 years, been covering the team on my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, for 6 and 4 right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to get us to 8,000 subscribers before the end of the month. And of course, you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. This episode is, oh my God. Today was the first day of the season. I honestly have no idea what to say. The Clippers have put on Wednesday night the most embarrassing opening night performance that I can recall in my 21 years of fandom. And I witnessed this team go 19-63 and 23-59 and be a losing team. And we have hopes of potentially winning a championship this year. So I'm going to be talking about the embarrassment. I'm going to be talking about individual players, and I'm going to be talking about the X's and O's. If you're wondering why I'm not more angry right now, I ranted away my initial pain and frustrations on the Dime Dropper channel, so go check that out. It was much more explicit, but now I've calmed down a bit. But there's no excuse for what happened tonight or on Wednesday night. 129-108 is the final score against who I believe is the worst team in the Western Conference and will finish bottom of the Western Conference. We didn't lead for a single second. We trailed by as many as 37 points. I said that starting this season strong because of the easy schedule that we were given was a necessity. James Harden said we got to hit the ground running because it's the West. What was that? There's a lot of things I can talk about, X's and O's wise, a lot of analysis. But sometimes it's as simple as this group of guys did not come to play, and the other team did. From the first couple possessions where Kawhi allowed an offensive rebound, and then we didn't pick up Lauri Markkanen in transition, I was questioning the effort right away. The urgency. 2 guys ran off ball to Keontae George, Bradley Beal, and James Harden, and left Lauri Markkanen wide open for 3. Miscommunications. 9 first quarter turnovers that led to 14 Utah Jazz points. 6 of them live ball turnovers, just weak, soft passes, including handoffs that were just like, what I'm thinking is, you have waited all this time to get back into your job, your profession, which is to be an NBA basketball player. There are people, and I'm not one of them anymore. You know, I have a growing club business that's one of the fastest, if not the fastest growing AAU program on the west side of Los Angeles right now. I have these amazing platform that I'm blessed with for Locked On. I have my own channel. When I lose my whole home in a house fire that destroys everything I've ever owned in my father's business, I don't get that worked up over one game of basketball. But there are a lot of fans out there that look forward to this day like it's Christmas morning. And to all those fans, the Clippers owe it to them to win on Friday against Phoenix at bare minimum. Because that was an absolute abomination from an effort perspective, from an attention to detail perspective, and an urgency perspective. I'm not even going to talk about X's and O's and stats yet, because there's no need to yet. It's opening night. If you're not pumped up for opening night, why are you in the league? Why are you in the league? Our starting lineup, I don't know if they underestimated Utah, if they thought it was going to be sweet. Brian Seaman mentioned this, and I know it's a different era, but playing in Utah is never easy. I did say we needed to win this game. I did say we needed to win it to set a tone. And not only did we lose it, we were the biggest embarrassment of opening night of the NBA. For every team that played their first game, there was no bigger shocking result than this one. I'm shocked at what I saw. Shocked at the lack of effort. No boxing out, no communication in transition, no effort to get Kawhi Leonard going at any stretch of the game. Kawhi Leonard had no urgency at all. And you know what? I got to give Will Hardy credit and the Utah Jazz coaching staff credit. You know what they said before the game probably? These guys are slow and old. Let's come out and run them out the gym. We've got a lot of size in our starting lineup. We're going to hedge every ball screen and make them swing the ball fast because we have the reason why they, I'm going to save that for the X's and O's segment, but we're going to hedge every ball screen and we're going to push pace and we're going to relentlessly attack these guys. We're going to deny every single sideline out of bounds and run these boys out the gym with our athleticism, with our speed. So maybe part of it is a matchup thing, but when it comes to young teams that are less talented than you, that finished 24th in offensive rating last year, and you come out and give them easy buckets off of defensive breakdowns and miscommunications and lack of rebounding, and then they start getting hot, you're putting yourself in a hole. And it was a hole that was so dug deep that we could not dig out of it. A 43-19 first quarter in favor of Utah. As I mentioned, 9 first quarter turnovers. The Jazz shot 12 for 21 from 3 in the first half. So there was an element of them just making every shot. Some of them were contested shots. Like that shot at the end of the half that Keontae George made was amazing. Bryce Sensabaugh making crazy shots, hand-in-the-face threes. And then Walker Kessler, he made 6 threes all of last season, and he already comes out and hits 2 in the first game, in the first half. That was shocking to me. They just weren't missing. They literally just weren't missing. But what we can control is our defensive resistance. We were the 3rd best defense in the league last year, and you could not tell at all that was the case tonight or on Wednesday night. An embarrassment. We were never in the game. We cut it down to 18 at one point. I mean, I'm just appalled at everyone. You can make an argument James Harden was okay because he had a double-double. His defensive effort, just reaching constantly and gambling, horrible. Zubats, yeah, he grew into the game and had 19 points in the end. What about the fact that he fell asleep twice with guys behind him in the first quarter? Just had no clue guys were behind him. What about the fact that he wasn't rebounding? John Collins was okay. Derrick Jones Jr. was okay. But Derrick couldn't even stay in front of the ball the first half. He had 3 fouls. He couldn't guard without fouling. Nobody could stay in front of the ball. 2 turnovers on sideline out of bounds. And what are the guys that are receiving the ball doing? Get into the body of your defender. Step into him. The Jazz took the aggression to us completely. It's very cliche, but they definitely wanted it more. And then to come out at halftime, we get outscored 43-19 in the first. Then we get outscored 35-28 in the second. So we're down by 31 points at halftime, 78-47. And then the second half, we come out and show no urgency either. I mean, what in tarnation? It's just an embarrassment to the fans. And here's the thing. Before I say anything more, I'm just going to say this. I'm still sticking with my pick. We're still going to be 55-27. We're still going to be the 3rd seed in the West. Everything's going to be okay. It's just one game. It's just the nature in which we came out and lost in opening night. I can't remember ever in my fandom that for us doing that. At least in the era that I've been making content, there's never been such a case. 1920, we beat the Lakers on opening night. 2021, we beat the Lakers on opening night. 21-22, we lost a very close game to Memphis. 22-23, we beat the Lakers on opening night. Should have played the Lakers. And then 2023-24, beat the Blazers on opening night. And then last year, we lost to Phoenix in an overtime game. So, and then 18-19, lost to Denver in a close game. 17-18, beat the Lakers on opening night. Damn, we owned the Lakers on opening night in the last 10 years. But we're going to be okay. I just don't remember anything like that before. But coming up, I'm going to be talking about some of the individuals, including Kawhi Leonard, who I thought, I'm just going to save it. Let's just talk about Kawhi next. I got to tell you a little something about Mint Mobile. If you're still overpaying for wireless, it's time to say yes to saying no. At Mint Mobile, their favorite word is no. No contracts, no monthly bills, no coverages, no hidden fees, no BS. I said yes to making the switch and getting premium wireless for just $15 a month. Mint makes it simple. All plans come with high-speed data and unlimited talk and text delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. You can even bring your own phone and keep your same number and contacts. The setup is super easy. You kept your number and then you're running in minutes. Ready to say yes to saying no? Make the switch at mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. That's mintmobile.com/lockedonnba. Upfront payment of $45 required, equivalent to $50 a month. Limited time, new customer offer for first 3 months only. Speeds may slow above 35 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Taxes and fees extra. See Mint Mobile for details. I got to tell you a little something about Rugiet. Let's be real. Making excuses doesn't solve anything. We've all heard them before. It's just stress. I'm tired, or it happens to everyone sometimes. But when it comes to performance in the bedroom, sometimes your body just needs a little extra support. And that's where Rugiet comes in. Rugiet.com offers fast-acting, doctor-prescribed treatments for ED designed to help you stop making excuses and start making moves. Rugiet makes it to get started. You just connect with a board-certified doctor 100% online. No awkward waiting rooms, no in-person appointments. If prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly straight to your door. Visit rugiet.com/lockedonnba to get 15% off your first order. That's rugiet.com/lockedonnba. And don't forget to use our code LOCKEDONNBA so they know we sent you. Rugiet. Stop making excuses and start making moves. All right. Clippers losing on opening night, 129 to 108. Let me just start from the top. Starting lineup. We started Derrick Jones Jr. instead of John Collins, and I think that might have been a mistake. My next episode is going to be analyzing the possibilities of starting lineups, but the Utah Jazz are an interesting team, right? They don't have like a clear-cut guard that runs a ton of pick and rolls. They started essentially 3 7-footers. Lauri Markkanen, Kyle Filipowski, and Walker Kessler. Honestly, this would have been a good game for John Collins to start. Because Kawhi Leonard, if he's not going to put a body on anyone and not going to try hard, then let's not have him guard big guys. Because Lauri Markkanen was torching him. And if anybody wants to debate me on this, that Kawhi had a good game or wasn't that bad, here's what we're going to do. If you really think Kawhi Leonard wasn't that bad, I need 20 likes on a comment that says, I want to watch the game with you. 20 likes by tomorrow at 6 Pacific. If a comment gets 20 likes that says, I want to watch the game with you, I will host a playback at night tomorrow. But if any of you even try doing that, you're delusional. Because you are not going to be able to hide the facts. Because I wrote them down. And it's not scapegoating. He's the best player on the team. I made all these episodes about healthy Kawhi. He's ready to go. And he comes out like that. First possession, doesn't see the ball when it hits the rim. Kyle Filipowski gets an offensive rebound. Lauri Markkanen makes a 3. Then he guards Lauri Markkanen top side and gets back cut. Lob for Markkanen. Then he tries to get around him and trail him, and he reaches from behind and puts Zoo in a 1-on-2 situation that led to a Walker Kessler lob. And then he's slow getting around the screen, just jogging casually when Lauri Markkanen's eating him alive. And then, not to mention, 9 shot attempts. That's partially on the coaching staff because we didn't look to give him the ball. But this is exactly what I was talking about. We cannot go away from being a Kawhi Leonard team. I know he wasn't aggressive enough, but we need to operate as if he's the guy. We need to set that tone early. In the preseason, what we saw was first quarter, it was the James and Zoo show, and then it was Kawhi in the second quarter. We saw nothing like that tonight or Wednesday night. He was 3 for 9 in the game, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, and 2 turnovers. And he was 1 for 5 from 3. So 5 of his 9 shots were threes. It just felt like very role player vibes. And that's on, and I guarantee you he's going to bounce back better on Friday against Phoenix. I promise. But his effort was embarrassing in this game, truly. And I never say that about Kawhi Leonard. Like, I never criticize his effort, but it was a joke. And then James Harden, he had a double-double, but his defense was just horrible. Like, he can't stay in front of the ball. He's gambling constantly. He had 15 points, 11 assists, 2 rebounds. He wasn't boxing out either. 2 turnovers on 5 for 12 shooting and 2 for 9 from 3 and 3 for 4 from the foul line. Way too many threes. He was 3 for 3 from 2. Like, there's just moments where he's taking these no pass possession threes, step back threes with a hand in his face, where he can drive by these guys. And it's just like, it's the little things with Harden. Like, I think he played the best of all the trash performances in this game, but it's the little things that he just doesn't give enough of, like the effort things. And there are times where he and CP3, who I also thought just wasn't very good, are just lagging on passing the ball to certain guys. The Jazz had a very smart strategy to hedge on the ball screens and get the ball out of Harden's hands and Chris Paul's hands. And they figured, and this was very smart, they have 3 7-footers, right? So if one's getting drawn out to the perimeter, they have 2 of them on the backside. So that was their whole logic. And then they're like, you know what? We can scramble. We have so much speed and athleticism and size, and they're slower that it's not going to be a big deal. And what they exposed was a lot of Clipper players second-guessing shooting the open three all night long. Kawhi, Harden, Chris Paul, Chris Dunn, even Brook Lopez when he first came in. And he ended with 11 3-point attempts, but there was a lot of guys that were second-guessing their threes and like just not shooting them. And it led to bad possessions. In Chris Paul's case, and this is why I say, I mentioned this in the last episode, this is why I say he's bad off ball. Because even if he's efficient shooting catch and shoot threes, he needs a boatload of space to get it off because his release is slow. And he's 6 feet flat, so they catch up. They recover, and it's a contested three. And then James Harden is hesitant with his catch and shoot threes too. And I don't know why Kawhi's hesitating. And there's times where we need to just swing the ball quicker and we're lagging. We're second-guessing the passes. So great strategy from Utah, but we need to let it fly with conviction. And people might say, I mean, dude, we still shot 45 threes. First of all, that fourth quarter was a joke. We outscored them 28-21, but the game was over after 3 quarters. The game was over at midway through the third quarter. And then what about throwing the ball to guys when they're not even looking and guys not looking for the ball? It happened once where Chris Dunn threw the ball in between Nico and Brook Lopez, where they were like both running the same route down the floor, just threw the ball away. And then the one where I forget who threw the pass, Kawhi Leonard had his back turned. We turned the ball over and then they scored and no one got back. I literally was going to break my TV. It was so embarrassing. So I don't think James Harden was that good either. And like it's too nonchalant for me. But he was the best of the trash performances. Then you have Zoo, who had 19 and 7 and 3 assists. So 19 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block, 2 turnovers on 9 for 13 shooting. So he shot well, but he didn't rebound well enough. He didn't defend well enough. He came out super lackadaisical on D. I was not happy with him. And I love Ivica Zubac, but I was not happy with him. You got to have a little more urgency to start games. Like 7 rebounds? I know Walker Kessler was playing a different game where he was, behind the arc and stuff, but nah. And then something to watch. When Zoo catches the ball on the short roll this season, teams are going to swarm him. They're going to throw two at him because they know he's good now. So he's got to be ready to kick it out. There were times where he went up against 2 guys and got blocked or they didn't call a foul or he missed. So he's got to be mindful of that. But I thought he was not that great either. And then Bradley Beal in his debut, just a lot of fouls, only 5 shot attempts. So that's going to be a challenge. How are we going to get Bradley Beal involved enough? And he was on a minutes restriction. He only played 20. But there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. It felt like Brad and Kawhi didn't get up enough shots, which is a little bit of an issue. So we'll see. I mean, I really think Brad should just come off the bench and we should start John Collins. Then Kawhi doesn't have to guard these bigger dudes. But we've already made the promise to Bradley Beal that we're going to start him. Because that second unit, I feel like it's just Chris Paul, Brook Lopez, pick and pops, and then some John Collins, which is fine. But I would rather it be just Chris Paul, Brook Lopez, pick and pops, and then Beal out there, who's the better shot creator and isolation scorer than John Collins. But my overall takeaway is that like nobody played well. I thought Collins and Derrick Jones Jr. were decent. Derrick Jones Jr. in the first half was terrible. He couldn't stay in front of the ball and had 3 fouls. But in the second half, he had that monster dunk. He had that and one on a run out. He showed that he was like trying, and that matters. He had 12 points, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 1 block, 1 turnover on 5 for 7 shooting, 1 for 3 from deep, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. He was decent. And then John Collins, I thought he was pretty active, finished around the basket a little bit, had a dunk. He was trying. It would have been a good game for him to start against his former team. He had 14 points, 7 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 2 blocks, and 2 turnovers in his Clipper debut on 50-50-50 splits. 6 for 12 from the field, 1 for 2 from 3, and 1 for 2 from the foul line. But my biggest takeaway is that didn't look like a team that Kawhi Leonard is the best player intention-wise, and Kawhi Leonard that was one of the worst games I've ever seen him play, like ever, truthfully. Because I usually don't have much criticism about him defensively. But I'm done with seeing him guard bigger guys like that. Just forget about it if that's going to be what he does. I think he'll play better in the next game. He definitely will play better in the next game. How could you get worse? But I just thought, as the best player on the team, I'm holding him to the highest standard. He's the champ. He's the 2-time Finals MVP. So for all you guys that are going to cry in the comments and saying I'm singling out Kawhi, no, I'm not. But I put more on him than anyone else. He's the best player on the team. And Ty Lue saying that bullshit is on me tonight? Are you kidding? The coach the coach wasn't great. But if I see anybody blaming Ty Lue in the comments, it's not his fault that these fools did not come out to play. Some of that stuff was pure effort. Pure effort. First of all, if a coach has to get you motivated for the opening day of the season, you shouldn't even be in the league. Coming up, though, I'm going to talk about the X's and O's, get down to the nitty-gritty a little bit, even though there's not much, but we're going to talk about it anyway. I got to tell you a little something about SKIMS. When I found out SKIMS was making underwear for men, I was intrigued. I've heard so much about their quality from friends and family, so I had to give it a try. Let me tell you, it lives up to the hype. I've always had issues with underwear, whether it be fit, comfort, or just finding the right style for me, for my active lifestyle. SKIMS changed all that. Their men's line offers something for everyone, from boxer briefs to classic briefs, all designed with the perfect balance of comfort and style. I tried the SKIMS boxer brief and I'm hooked. These are perfect for my active lifestyle, and they move with me, never lose their shape, and stay in place all day. Whether I'm working out or just running errands, they're the most comfortable and reliable underwear I've ever owned. Plus, the lightweight material feels amazing, almost like you're wearing nothing at all. Shop SKIMS Men's at skims.com. Let them know we sent you. After you place your order, select podcast in the survey and select my show in the drop-down menu that follows. All right, Clipper Nation, just letting you know it's not the end of the world. It's only one game. If we win on Friday, all's forgotten and we're on a high and everything changes. So make sure, Clipper Nation, to bring your voices. Let's get this thing rocking. Let's get it going. Let's pop this Intuit Dome roof off like we did last year for opening night against the Suns, and hopefully it ends with a win. But let's talk a little bit about the X's and O's. So Zoo was guarding Walker Kessler. DJ and Beal were splitting time on Svi Mikhailuk and Keontae George. Kawhi Leonard on Lauri Markkanen, and then James Harden on Filipowski. For them, they had Lauri on Kawhi, Svi on Harden, George on Beal, Filipowski on DJ, and Kess on Zoo. I mentioned the hedging of the screens already. I think that was a good strategy, and we got to counter that by swinging the ball faster and letting it fly. When Chris Dunn plays, and I love Chris Dunn, when he plays 22 minutes and has a donut, he had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, but was 0 for 3 and 0 for 1 from 0 for 3 and 0 for 1 from 3. He had a lot more opportunities to shoot than just 3 times, and he's not doing it. And then when teams run him off the line, he's hesitant about that floater. So it makes it very hard. He needs to be more aggressive and just live with the results, in my opinion at least. And then, Lauri he got going early on Kawhi. I was thinking that we needed to put Collins in the game. It was a clear lack of talking on defense by the Clippers. And look, there's not much of an excuse for that. Bradley Beal's the only guy in that starting lineup that wasn't on the team last year. They should not be having that many miscommunications. Walker Kessler making those 2 threes. I mean, that wasn't on the scouting report, so I'll give him a pass for that. But Walker Kessler, he literally was 7 for 7 in this game. He didn't miss one shot. 22 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 4 blocks. So he had a monster game. But like those 2 sideline out of bounds turnovers were so lazy, both from the passer and the guys receiving the ball, just not going into the body of their defender. All the live ball all the live ball turnovers early. I mean, and Utah was playing perfectly. Like, there is an element to the fact that Bryce Sensabaugh had 20 points and Taylor Hendricks had 13 points. And these guys were 12 for 21 from 3 at half. But the disappointing thing for me is, like, we had moments in that second quarter where it looked like we were going to make a little push. But I thought before Brook Lopez made those 3 threes, he was playing really soft, just like soft handoffs and looking really whack with the ball, like just weak with the ball. But he did make those 3 threes, and he ended up shooting 5 for 11 from 3. So he showed me some good stuff, but I don't know, 3 rebounds, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 1 steal, 2 turnovers on 5 for 12 shooting and 5 for 11 from 3. 15 points in 17 minutes, though, like, that's not bad. He was our leading scorer off the bench. John Collins with 14 on the 50-50-50 splits I talked about. And by the way, if people are wondering who was the odd man out of the 11, it was Bogey, which is what I said I would do. And some people are probably going to say we need him now for that game, but I wouldn't overreact. Because who are you taking out? Nico? I know he was 1 for 4 from 3, and those are the only shots he took. And, he had 3 points, 2 boards, 1 assist, 1 steal, 1 block, no turnovers. Not a great game. But with how badly we defended, I don't know about switching Nico for Bogey. I just don't know about that. And by the way, if we're fully healthy and Bogey doesn't get minutes, he will request a trade at some point, which concerns me. But we're going to have guys miss games. He's going to play. But I don't know. If we are healthy and he's not in the rotation, he's probably going to want to leave because he's good enough to play. So that's something that's going to be interesting to watch. But yeah, and he didn't even get off the bench in garbage time. And then Chris Paul, I love the guy, but it was very underwhelming from him. Very underwhelming. Just looked older, slower. And when teams blitz the pick and roll or hedge the pick and roll, Chris needs to do a better job of getting rid of the ball quicker. There were some times where I think maybe he was just afraid that it was going to be a turnover and he just waited for the window to widen. But by the time the window widened, the defense recovered. If teams are in drop coverage, then Chris is going to be able to get to his mid-range and manipulate the defense better. But if I'm on another team, is what I would do. So we did go with the total bench unit, like I said we would in preseason, and it was okay. At that point, the starters had put us in such a big hole, it didn't matter. But it is very largely just Chris and Brook pick and pops, and then some John Collins. Like, when they switch, we'll throw it down to him and stuff like that. But if I'm the defense, what I would do is, and by the way, for people that say, like, why are you giving team strategies on how to defend us? If you really think that with all the coaching and film guys in the NBA now that people aren't seeing this and know about this, you're crazy. You think they're getting coaching advice from a podcaster. Although I am a coach at youth levels, but youth levels versus NBA, very different. If I'm a team, though, playing against that second unit of ours, what I would do is I would hedge the screens on CP3. I would have whoever Chris Dunn is guarding, or whoever the closest guy to Brook Lopez is that's not guarding Brook Lopez, because Brook Lopez's man is going to hedge on the screen, right? So then somebody then rotates to Brook Lopez, preferably Chris Dunn's man. And then when we swing the ball to Chris Dunn, we're recovering. The other team is recovering. That's what I would do. Force the ball out of Chris Paul's hands. Don't let Brook Lopez take the pick and pop 3. Make Chris Dunn make a decision and have us in scramble mode. Because Chris Paul and Brook Lopez are not attacking closeouts like that. So that's what I would do. We went on a 14-6 run in that second quarter behind the Brook Lopez threes. Brook and Kevin, I put KD in my notes and I almost said Kevin Durant. Chris Dunn were the bench players who stayed in the longest as the starters slowly came back in. We even tried a different defensive strategy, which was to switch James Harden onto Walker Kessler so we could switch the ball screens. Didn't work. Nothing worked. Nobody can stay in front of the ball. Like, that was very weird because last year we were such a good defensive team, but DJ and Chris Dunn, they were getting blown by. And as I said, we were hesitating on our open threes. But Zubats, I'll say, he did get going in the second quarter. He had that nice deep seal where he dunked it in the restricted area, had a nice finish around the basket, had a putback and one, jump hook. But Walker Kessler, Bryce Sensabaugh, these guys were lights out. And they went on an 11-0 run to end the half, and that's when I knew we were cooked. I was like, all right. Not winning this game. So Utah played out of their minds. Like, there is a part of the game that it's Utah just played out of their minds. And I don't know if they'll be able to continue that. But, I mean, that play where in the third quarter where Kawhi was running up the floor, and I forget who threw it to him, and he wasn't even looking, and they took the ball, and then no one's getting back on D, that just kind of like encapsulated our whole game to me. Like, they had Lawler's Law in the third quarter. Embarrassing. Chris Paul, 1 for 5 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3. Made his only free throw, 4 points, 1 board, 4 assists, and a steal, and 1 turnover in his first game back as a Clipper. I hope that Friday against Phoenix, when the crowd inevitably gives him a rousing ovation, led by the swell and the wall, that Chris will be better. But yeah, I've read everyone's stat line. Kawhi, 10 points. Harden, 15 and 11. Zubats, 19 and 7. Brad Beal, only 5 shots and 5 points. I thought Cam Christie, when he came into the game, gave us some life. He looked like he actually wanted to be there. Crashing the offensive glass, getting his hands on the ball and deflecting it for a steal. So he actually didn't get credit for the steal, but I saw that deflection, Cam. Their Clippers have a lot of work to do. We looked old and slow, and I think that young teams will be an issue for us. But that was beyond a young team being athletic and blitzing us. Like, that was more so, did we even want to be out there? Because that was just an embarrassment from the top to bottom. I don't care how much accountability Ty Lue wants to have. It's not his fault. Do we change the starting lineup, though, after one game? I think that would be a little premature as well. But I think it should maybe be matchup dependent, because when we play against teams with like multiple bigs like that have like 2 or 3 guys that are 6'10" and above, we should probably have John Collins starting. We should have John Collins starting anyway. I just don't think Bradley Beal should be starting. Truthfully, I think it's going to be the best case scenario for him, but we made a promise to him, so we'll see if that bites us in the ass. But anyway, there'll be better days ahead, Clipper Nation. Trust me on that. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DimeDropperPod. Subscribe to my own YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, where I was a lot more animated after the game. And Locked On Clippers is free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell to get us on the road to 8,000 subscribers, to help us on the road to 8,000 subscribers before the season begins. Oh my God, the season already began. I'm just so used to saying that. Before the month ends, it's not possible. We need like 400 more. Before the year ends, come on, that should not be too much to ask. 8,000 subs before the year ends? Come on. And of course, you can listen wherever you get your podcasts. It's just one game. It is just one game. It's just an embarrassing game. The age-old proverb continues. Go Clippers.